Welcome to our demonstration of our automatic air freshener device. We will be simulating multiple activities that can be done on the toilet, starting with number 1. As you can see, our test subject is standing in front of the toilet. The distance sensor measures the distance and recognizes the subject is standing. When the subject leaves the room, the device sprays once. Let's explain how the device considers this action as urinating. When the subject enters the room and turns on the light sensor sends a signal to the system. When a magnet on the door touches the sensor on the door frame, the system recognizes that the door is closed. If both of those conditions are met and the motion sensor sees that someone is inside, the system will start measuring the distance to the user. The system can recognize a standing person because its distance to the sensor is longer than it would be if one were sitting down. It considers this as urinating. It will start a timer to measure how long the user spends standing. Because the user spent more than a couple of seconds standing, the system considers this activity as urinating. It sprays once. Now let's simulate a different activity, defecating. Upon entering the toilet, the subject will sit down, which means they are close to the distance sensor.
Morgen is de pijn terug. Staan we uren op de hal, daar rijdt de trein terug, het duurt te lang.
After they are done and open the door, the system will spray twice.
We staan hier al een tijdje en we moeten door, dus voor de laatste keer, het spijt me, het duurt te lang. Oh my god!
So how did the system determine the difference between the previous simulation and the current one? Again, we use the distance sensor to measure the distance to the user, and in this case it is significantly smaller than it would be if one were standing up. The system starts a timer to track how long the user has been sitting down. If the user spent at least a minute sitting down, the system considers this as defecating, which will ultimately result in spraying twice. Some users prefer to urinate while sitting down. For this purpose, the system will only spray twice if the user has been sitting down for more than a minute. Otherwise, it will only spray once.
Now let's move on to the third activity, cleaning the toilet. When cleaning, the door will stay open and no matter how much the cleaner moves around, the system will not spray. Apart from the previously mentioned sensors, there is also a temperature sensor. This allows the LCD to display the room temperature at all times. The LCD also displays the amount of sprays left in the can at all times.
Can you blow my whistle, baby, let me know. Girl, I'm gonna show you how to do it and we start real slow. You just put your lips together and you come real close. Can you blow...
Hey Jeroen, het stinkt hier een beetje.
Ja, daar weet ik wel wat op.
Oh, dat is beter. Dankjewel.
Let's talk about the code behind all of this. The sketch works by keeping track of the state the system is currently in. Each state has its own class with its own behavior. The system starts in the idle state. When the light is on and the door gets closed, it moves to the active state, where it will start keeping track of the user's behavior by using timers. Once the user leaves the room, the system will evaluate those timers and move on to the spraying state and then back to the idle state. We have used these libraries to make the sketch work.
It works consistently, and due to all the duct tape we use to mount it to the toilet, nothing is able to move, which makes it robust. The slight problem is that the whole system is open, which can lead to water damage or users that accidentally destroy something. We had some difficulty mounting the device and getting the orientation right for the sensors, but it all worked out in the end. We chose to use 2 breadboards instead of 1 for easier usage and more room to maneuver. We would mostly make the same choices if we were to build it again. However, we would probably locate the sensors to a different position on the breadboards, so that we do not limit ourselves in making the housing. Everything in general went pretty decent and no problems occurred that we could not handle.
So good and tasty.
Deze weak boy versus deze badass.